Shopping in the souk is an extraordinary experience. This is a city of facts.
So the name of El Jam ranked almost third after Carthage, Lepsis, which is now in Libya, and so you have El Jam, or also Hadrumetum, which was Sus. And it became very rich thanks to the exports of olive oil, which was produced in the neighborhood and in the hinterland of the country. So on their way to the harbors, the merchants bought many of these quantities of olive oil. So this is a reflection, just one monument of many that disappeared in the city. It ranks third in the empire. It ranked after the Colosseum of Rome and the one in Capua. And this is the biggest Roman monument left in all North Africa. In the central part of the amphitheater, called in Latin Harina, H-A-R-E-N-A, we say arena. Harina meant sand, because this part of the amphitheater was covered by sand, which absorbed the blood of the victims, either animals, prisoners, outlaws when they were offered to the beasts or crucified sometimes, and the gladiators. They covered all that with wooden beams and decorated it like a movie set with dunes and bushes and trees. Out of the show, these wooden beams were removed so that they could ventilate the underground. This arena is surrounded by a wall which is about 3 meters high, called the podium wall, because the last seats, the closest to the arena, were termed the podium. And the wall is termed the podium wall. It was decorated with paintings that reflected different combats, as if the arena was very extensive. And then from there started the cavea, so the seats which reached the top of the building, and at the very top there was what they called the summa cavea, so the last seats with a portico where the people stood for those who found no seats. And there, in fact, at the top you find the plebeians, the slaves, and the women. Women were not allowed to be seated close to the arena. So only the women from the magistrates or emperor's family and some priestesses.
This is the amphitheater, El Jim. Unbelievable.
It's built with big stone, which is a unique example in all the empire. The other amphitheaters were either carved in hills or backing to a hill, or built with pebbles or bricks, while here it's with ashlar blocks of sandstone, which was quarried 40 kilometers east of this site. As a late amphitheater, it was built during the 3rd AD, it inherited many improvements in this kind of architecture, and such monuments were abandoned and they were squatted by poor people and they lived in. So either they took their stones or they lived in. So when visiting the monument, you can see many carvings like here. They came much later, so people put their roofs and they had their houses here and they lived here. In fact, during the 60s, the Tunisian authorities had to withdraw many people who squatted the monument. This carving, you find it in either side of the stone. This is because they hooked the stone in order to lift it. Imagine such a building, they need to use cranes and different machineries. So the stones were grasped by hooks from either side, like that, see? And they were lifted to the upper floors. Yeah. Of course, this monument was squatted by, you imagine this monument was not used forever. We know that the last combats in the arenas in the empire happened in 425. You have different doorways that lead to the underground.
What's fun also about Tunisia that it's a small country, the size of Florida altogether, which you can cross in something like 5 hours by car, and where you can fly from north to south within 50 minutes at most. You could go to the Sahara and the desert and drive your way eastward within less than an hour to Gherba. Gherba, very often compared to an oasis of tolerance. It's an island in a predominantly Muslim nation where Jews thrive as a prosperous minority, where they practice their faith, where there is an annual pilgrimage, which is unique in the region, an annual Jewish pilgrimage in the middle of a Muslim majority. Jews come from all around the world, from the Middle East and from Europe and from America, to visit that historical site, a place where one of the oldest synagogues of the world exists.
I'm Jon Haggins, the GlobeTrotter. I'm standing here at Tamersa Palace, and we are located right now in the southern part of Tunisia, and the Atlas Mountains are behind us, and they look like sleeping elephants. It's really an incredible oasis.
This is Tamersa, which is in the southern part of Tunisia, right near the Algerian border. It's a small town located along what they call a wadi, which is a dry riverbed. Unfortunately, the whole village was wiped out in 1969 when there were terrible flooding here. So the villagers have now all moved further up the river.
This is a very humble village that was destroyed during the flood.
3,500 people died
Yes.
during the flood of 69.
In 69, yes. You have 21 days water.
We're here in the village of Tamersa, which was destroyed by a flood in 1969. And the village has now moved a little further upstream. And the city itself is really providing a fantastic view for the Tamersa Palace Hotel, which is right across the way. It's a magical sight.
These are the Atlas Mountains between Algeria and Tunisia.
So the oases are based on a big number of little springs that spring in on the way of the streams, and they feed the low parts of this area. And here we find the palm trees, which shelter lower trees, which shelter vegetables.